What is good, everybody? So I want to actually show you guys the result of the Bitcoin trade that I had yesterday, which first and foremost, I'm going to show you guys the end result of the trade, which as you guys can see here, I made a total of $12,000 on this trade. Now, by accident, instead of withdrawing, I deposited from another trading account because the CRM on this broker specifically is a little funky on the iPhone. So I meant to withdraw 6,600 and 67 $6,767, but I deposited it instead, so that's why you guys see a withdrawal for 13,584 because I actually withdrew a 6767 twice, which sums up to 13,584. But you guys can see I paid a total of $150. I don't know how well you guys can see it, but I paid a total of $150 in commissions, made a total profit of $12,410. It's not a screenshot, of course. And then what I'm going to show you guys here as well is I'm still waiting for the crypto to actually land in my wallet. It's taking a little bit long. I did record this process live from my main YouTube channel, which I'll show you guys here, which you guys could see here. My withdrawal had been executed for $13,584. You guys already know New Year's is coming up. The holidays is coming up. I'm just waiting for the crypto to actually hit my wallet here because it hasn't yet. I guess they approved it, but it hasn't been sent from their exchange or whatever they use. So that is the result of that trade. Now, I will say I was up at one point on this trade here, which I'll show you guys. And again, this is just a trade recap video. This is not like the actual live trading video. I was up at one point though on this trade around $25,000. Now, the trade of when I actually took the entry itself will be posted on my main YouTube channel. So you guys can see here I was up at one point $23,000 on this trade. At this point, I'm just kind of modifying my position and actually securing partials. So my main YouTube channel, what you guys will see is the breakdown of when I took the trade, and then the, or not the breakdown, but the actual moment of me taking the trade. So you guys will see me execute the trade live and when I had just recently entered the position, and then you'll see a little bit of another recap there after. So I want to recap this Bitcoin position for you guys. Now, I did use two different programs, which we're going to switch over to the screen right now. So the first program, of course, that I used was TradingView. I used the volume profile on TradingView itself. And the second program that I used here was ATAS for the big trades indicators. Now, first and foremost, guys, for those of you guys that may or may not know, whenever you buy a Rhythmic account at t8trader.com, you actually get an ATAS subscription completely for free. Since I do have a Boost and Ignite account on T8, which with the Ignite accounts I can get daily payouts. I have my Rhythmic, so I have my ATAS subscription completely for free, so you could save up to around $150 a month by just literally buying an account at T8, and you get an ATAS subscription for free. And on ATAS, I'm using the big trades indicator on Bitcoin futures, which you can see here. Now, first and foremost, when it came down to Bitcoin, when looking at the volume profile, which, I mean, I can also pull up the volume profile here as well on ATAS for the specific ranges, but I just had it on Bitcoin, I had it on TradingView because I wasn't in my main setup at the time. So first and foremost, what you guys are going to see here is there's two different volume profiles. The first volume profile is drawn from the high all the way down into the low, so this extension here, which gives us three different levels. Now, I've made tons of videos on volume profile, guys, on my main channel, on my second channel. You guys can go watch those videos. So we have the value area low of the volume profile distribution here at 85,784, value area high at 92,667. And then this is going to be the main distribution. We can see we're building a B profile right now here. And in between that area is going to be the value area. And we have the point of control currently sitting at 87,333. That is going to be the main reason why I entered where I entered, which I'll go over in a second. But now with inside of that range, we have a lot more of a compressed range, which if I were to visualize this for you guys, we have the main range, the main volume profile distribution, the main value area being here. Value area meaning that this is where the buyers and sellers are comfortable doing business. We see a lot of buying and selling happening inside of this range. And this is where price action is spending around 70% of its time. You can see above the value area high, the buyers are getting absorbed. We have lots of failed auctions up here, and we're not finding acceptance of these higher prices. And beneath the value area low, the auction is again failing, and we're seeing the sellers struggle to continue to sell this market beneath that value area low. Now, with inside of that range, we have another range, which is going to be here. So you guys can see the range is getting much more compressed and much tighter, which signifies to me that we're getting ready for another move either to the up or the downside. And my job is not to guess, my job is not to predict, but to react to what the data is actually telling me, which is what's more important here. Now, at the time, with inside of the larger profile range, what we started to see is we had the smaller kind of compressed volume profile range over here, which I have it drawn from this high all the way down into this low here, which it gives us the distribution of this range. Now, with inside of this range, we have a few key levels. We have the point of control, which is sitting at 87,713. This is going to be for the smaller range. This is the point of control, the larger range. We have the value area low, CR, which stands for compressed range. So we have the value area low of this profile here. Then we have the value area high of this profile over here. And then what we also have here is a high volume node from the larger range. So you guys can start to see how these volume profile levels are starting to be much more critical, and how you guys need to implement volume profile into your every single day trading to get the most accurate and best levels possible. I didn't draw this based off of price, because if it was based off of price action, I would have said, hey, you know what, and this is the inaccuracy with drawing just technical levels of support and resistance based off of price action. It would be like, hey, you know what, I actually see that we have support all throughout this range, and this is the old way of drawing. We have support all throughout this range, and then we have resistance all throughout this range. Does that mean that it's wrong? No, but this is where things can get tricky. Why? Because one, support and resistance, supply and demand is an overall general range. So if I were to be marking this up based off of just the technicals, at this point here, this looks like a pretty clean break and retest to me. We see perfect clean break, retest, it's holding. We're going to be looking along this, and that would have resulted in a loss. Same thing over here. We see a super clean break. Price comes back down for the retest. Never held the retest, but to say nonetheless, it would have changed the perspective, because it's like, okay, well, now we're trading above resistance. It would have completely changed the perspective. Now, when we set our main support and resistance levels based off of high volume nodes and low volume nodes, look how much more accurate you get. This was never a break and retest. This was a failed auction, and we're seeing the buyers get absorbed at this high. Same thing over here, never break and retest, but a failed auction, and we're seeing the buyers get absorbed at this high, which is why I'm telling you guys need to stop relying only on price action to mark up your main levels and start using volume profile. And that's the type of adaptation you need to overall long-term be successful in this industry, because what's working right now doesn't necessarily mean that it'll work 10 years from now, and your current execution model is going to work 10 years from now. It's not the case. The market goes through different waves, goes through different cycles. So if you could start basing everything based off of volume, you'll have a much stronger and better long-term foundation. So why did I take the Bitcoin longs? Well, first and foremost, we have the POC of the main profile distribution being down here at 87,800 or 87,282. And what we're seeing is that the sellers beneath the POC of the main distribution are getting absorbed. And what we also see is that the sellers are failing to auction beneath the 86,669 value area low of the more compressed range here. Now, how can we go in and confirm that? Well, one, we see absorption candlesticks. That's kind of like the easy way to do it. But what we could do is, again, use the data, use the big trades information to our favor. We're seeing at the value area low, sellers get aggressive, no reward. Sellers get aggressive, no reward. Large selling coming into the market. This is where I decided to actually take my trade. We can see a huge sell-off as we're approaching that POC and that value area low. We're seeing the sellers get extremely aggressive here by entering large trades down here at the value area low, meaning that they're trying to sell the market and continue to push the market lower, but we have passive buyers sitting on the order book absorbing this aggressive selling. You can see here sellers are not getting rewarded, and as price started to break above this high, my ideology was I wanted to enter myself in a long once these sellers were underwater. So once we started to trade outside of the zone, you can see we kind of came back into that area. Price started to push back up, and as we started to come back down and we started to hold is when I actually executed myself into the trade. Now, in terms of entry and stop loss placement, my entry was just around this level right here. My stop loss placement was beneath the value area low of the compressed range, because at that point, if we're going to break that value area low, then we're just most likely going to come down into the next value area low of the more larger profile, and I want to be out of the trade by then. Like, I rather cut my losses early and then look to get back in here. And my take profit was the value area high of the more larger profile distribution, which I'm getting around 3.5, 4R multiple on this trade, give or take, which, as you can see, sometime price consolidated for a bit. I took the entry on the 27th, and as you can see, not until the 28th at night, price didn't start actually taking off. Now, again, looking at volume profile, looking at the big trades, we could see large buyers are starting to step in, but the difference between the sellers getting absorbed and the buyers is the reward. We can see large buying started stepping in and price was following through, meaning that buying is getting rewarded. Large buyers stepped in, price came back down a little bit, but then we immediately followed through right after on the breakout to the upside. So as price action started to break out to the upside and we reached the value area low is when I moved my stop loss to break even, because at that point I don't want to have any risk on the table, or sorry, the value area high of the compressed range. At that point I don't want to have any risk on the table, or I didn't move my stop loss to break even, I apologize. I moved my stop loss up to under the point of control. So the reason why I did that and not go to break even was because I wanted to give price a little bit more room to breathe, but I didn't feel like I needed the necessity to still have $15,000 of risk on the table here on this trade. And for me to give back at this point, I think I was floating like $12,000 in profit. For me to give back almost 1R entire, I was floating like around 1R or so. For me to give that profit back entirely and then lose a full R multiple doesn't make sense, because I want to target a way bigger range, which is going to be like all the way over here. So for me, I cut my risk by like literally 75%, and I was only risking $4,000 at this point once we reached the value area high of the compressed range. Once we broke through that, I was literally at dinner, and I wasn't really looking at the order flow or anything. I was just mainly looking at volume profile here. Once we broke through this area here and price action started to again start pushing through this range, we came and tested the high volume node, which at the time I wasn't looking at my order flow, or else I may have actually closed the position here, because what I could do now is go to a 30-minute time frame, go to the 30-minute here, and you can see aggressive buying, aggressive buying, aggressive buying, aggressive buying, and now we push into that high volume node. You can see the buyers are getting aggressive, but they're not being rewarded at that high volume node, and the buyers are getting absorbed here. Again, and you have to think about it, this is a 30-minute time frame. So for an hour and a half, the buyers are trying to push through this area aggressively, and they're getting completely absorbed. So I didn't see that, but this is in hindsight, and we could see through some absorption candles here on the hour time frame that the buyers are struggling here at this high volume node. So at that point, once we hit the high volume node, I needed to pay myself on this trade. I wanted to secure profit. So I secured about a quarter of my position. I had a total of 10 lots. I secured about 3 to 3.5 lots on this trade and secured $8,000 on the very first partials. And the reason why I took partials is because, again, guys, like, if I would have just let this trade, if I would have just moved my stops to break even and just let this trade ride, try and be greedy for this last target, this, I don't want to call it a home run, because, I mean, at that point, it's not really a home run trade in terms of our multiple. But if I'm not securing profit, I'm not building my account. What I've just done with these $12,000 in profit is I've just bought myself the next trade. And if I only risk 12K, that trade was completely for free. You're not going to be able to do that if you're not securing partials. And then on top of that, you need to know areas that are pivotal for your trade to either continue or to see a complete reversal. So I knew at this high volume node that there was going to be a good probability we were going to see either a complete reversal or a pullback and then a continuation. So that's why I secured profits on this trade. Now, I ended up trailing my stop loss all the way up to about this area right here. Why this area specifically is because Since I had already secured partials, I still had the larger target in mind, especially with this amount of volume on Bitcoin. But again, this is my first Bitcoin trade that I've taken in a very, very, very long time. This is where I decided to actually trail my stop loss to, because if we were to see the sellers reclaim beneath the value area low, then there's going to be a good probability we're going to see a mean reversion back down into the mean, which is going to be the point of control here at 87K. And we saw exactly that. So I decided to secure just slightly beneath a value area high reclaim from the sellers and secure the rest of my position, which is around $4,000 in this situation here, which again, you know, I was floating $25,000 at one point. Does it suck? Yes, but what I'm doing is I'm building long-term habits where I'm securing profits, I'm taking partials, and I'm just not being emotional to the money, because I could have easily just been like, you know what, I'm closing here, perfectly fine. But then how many trades am I going to do that where, you know, I do close out my full trade, it pulls back a little bit and then continues to run to my full target? So for me, I want to find a balance. I want to be able to feed my psychology, feed my ego, where, hey, you know what, I was floating 25K. I still want to hold this, and I want to hold my full position to full TP, but it's not smart because there's going to be potential reversal and pivot points inside of this distribution. And the thing we have to remember is we're trading inside of the main value area. So not that it's at any point we could see a reversal, but again, we have a high volume node here, a high volume node here, and then full TPs here. So even if we would have blown through this 90,000 high volume node, my next area where I would have taken partials would have been right here at 91,389, where the volume continues to start to build back up. And like these volume nodes are areas that are showing us, hey, we're seeing a lot of buying and a lot of selling being transacted inside of this range. Like, you need to be careful and you need to move appropriately at these areas. So for me, that's where I was like, you know what, I'm just going to secure partials. I'm going to move my stops up, and then, you know, if the trade runs to full TP, great. If not, then you know what, I still secured money, and my next trade is going to be completely for free. And at the end of the day, I'm sure you guys have heard of this saying, but like, you'll never go broke taking profits, because imagine how painful it would have been for me, and this has happened to me so many times, which is why I stopped like not taking partials. Is simply because imagine how especially if you're swing trading. If I was day trading, I would have been fully out here. But imagine how painful it would have been to see this move ride all the way up and then all the way down, and you break even. Or worse, you just said, fuck, price is pulling back on me, I'm gonna move my stops, and just start making beginner mistakes and have open risk on a trade that was in profit, and should be no reason for you why you're not making money on that trade. But for me, again, it's important to not only see my trading account grow, but to also see more green days than red days and break-even trades. Like, I don't really care what my win rate day trading is on a daily basis, but I like to definitely see more green days on my calendar, because it helps my psychology. And you know what, for some people that are like, hey, Raul, like, I don't care, like, I'm gonna shoot for the 5 Rs, the 6 Rs, the 7 Rs, but I'm, you know, gonna have a 30% green data loss ratio and a lower Sharpe ratio. It's like, for me, that's not how I wanna be positioned. I definitely wanna win more than I lose, and I do that oftenly by securing partials. That's what's more important here. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys on the next one.